Okay, all right. I guess I'll start out by saying I just heard news from Keith about the young man from Army that was killed, and of course our hearts go out to their family and to all the kids in the program, the coaches, and all the folks at West Point. That's as we unfortunately know, that's what a hard thing for everybody to go through. Well, we're on to a new week starting, I guess, yesterday. We had the players in, looked at the film, and did a workout, and then the players are off today to begin practice tomorrow for the week. Summarizing the Wyoming game, some of the key parts. I think and some of the difference makers for us as we got going a little bit were we did pretty well on third down. We're 8 out of 14 and pretty good third down defense. They were 2 out of 10. We had some explosive plays, which was good to see. We had that close to that number that we think we need. That's one of the main emphasis points for us as a football team, is to get big plays and not give them up. And they got a couple of them, but we had our share. Our turnover deal has been good. Another big emphasis for the year about how things go. We had the one interception, and we got a fumble back, but the interception at that part of the field at that time and the down and first and goal was not necessary at all. And then the big negative in the ball game for me was the penalties. We had 3 late hits. We had a unsportsmanlike, and then we had 3 football penalties, a clip, a hold, and a pass interference. The first 4 are all preventable, obviously. We've tried to make an emphasis of hits on the sideline. Those are fairly easy to call. Easy to see, and that's where you see the majority of them. We had 2 more like that, late hits that were not necessary at all, and with the interception and the penalties in the red zone, it really changed the game. That's what it did, and so that's all got to be corrected. Offensively, it was almost like a flip game from the week before. Where we ran the ball effectively, didn't throw much, and this game it was disappointing. We could not find a rhythm with the right run. They did a nice job of defending us, I think, but at the same time we didn't find that identity run that we could really count on for a long time in the ball game. Fortunately, in the passing game, we got some big plays. Our percentage was good. Our numbers were good. And we had 4 touchdown passes. Our first and second down running was not very good. Guys that played well, Alonzo Moore continues to play well. Brandon Riley and Westerkamp and Seathan all played well. Defensively, we played a lot of good defense. Good against the run. We got basically misaligned and got hurt on one fly sweep in particular. But actually, both fly sweeps we were misaligned in or didn't adjust, and they hurt us. And then the play before the half with what we were in should never have even come close to happening. That was disappointing. Changed the game also. And we had. We had, like I said, a lot of good defense and some good pass defense. And, of course, our turnover deal was very good, making plays on the ball. We got hurt on a bootleg blitz with a guy wide open on a big down in the red zone. And I guess that's about it defensively. Special teams, Drew Brown really was, I think, outstanding. Had a number of touchbacks. And, the wind was kind of funny, and we even elected to go into the wind in the third quarter, so if we needed it in the fourth, we'd have it, and he kicked a touchback right away. So, I just thought Drew had a great day. The snapper was good. Again, quietly, as everybody knows, those guys aren't mentioned much, but he does a nice job. Chris Weber was good on special teams. JoJo Doman was good. Brad Simpson made plays. Mo Berry had a good tackle. Luke McNitt is doing a nice job, had another big tackle on special teams. We didn't have any penalties on our special teams, and I think we made everybody really, really scared and alert for our fake punt. I think that's really a joke. But you know, and that part of our game we obviously need some work on. Punt return has been funny so far. We haven't had any real good opportunities to return the ball. But we've got to continue to work on that and be better. And we had another nice kickoff return. Jordan Nelson had a good one. So we've had a couple now in 2 games, and maybe we've made progress in that area going forward. Looking to Oregon, you know, we've got I think a pretty typical picture of what we've seen historically offensively. Lots of speed, athleticism on their team. They have an outstanding runner. Now Royce has seemed like he's been there forever, but he's a real good player. They've got a returning tight end that broke his foot a year ago. They've got 3 tight ends that are real good players that they're utilizing. That seems like a lot more than they used to in the past. They've got real good speed and athleticism at receiver. You know, Carrington is a real good player, and of course Charles Nelson is a playmaker all over the place. They've used him on defense before. He's a returner. They use him on their swinging gate, extra point stuff, so he'll be back there causing you problems. And then he's a playmaker receiver. Devin Allen, who's the Olympic hurdler, he plays receiver for him. He's got obviously unbelievable speed, so they've got a lot of speed, and they've been very balanced. Prukop, the new quarterback, appears to be very comfortable with what they're doing. He's obviously selected because of that versatility, but they've been really balanced, averaging 570-something yards in their first 2 games, and about 300 passing, and then whatever's left of that 270 running the ball. So it's been balanced defensively. They're a new scheme from what we used to see. Nick Aliotti ran for years they ran the 3-4. They're now in a 4-man front. Base coverage is quarters coverage, but they do a lot of zone blitzing, so it's 3 deep. They've shown a variety of pressures and corner blitzes in the first couple of ball games. Their defensive tackle, number 50, is a good player. 97 is a good pass rusher off the edge. Their linebackers are all very active, and they've got one safety, number 2, that is 6'4", 205, good-looking new athlete for us. Number 8, their nickel, is an outstanding player. So that's kind of a snapshot of who they are, and we'll start practicing to get ready for tomorrow. It's an exciting opportunity for our team right now. We've put ourselves in a good position to play this game, and now it'll just be exciting and, like I said, a great opportunity for our team to play the Ducks here this weekend. Questions?
How long after you took the job did it take you to realize Oregon was on the schedule? And is there a little something extra?
Yeah, well, somebody told me like right after, you know, and it is exciting. Yeah, actually, you know, we didn't fare all that well through the many years with them, but it was a great rivalry, and we saw changes in both programs as we went forward, and you know, it was one of those deals where you didn't necessarily like it, but you had to admire the work that was going on in that program when Mike hired Chip Kelly as an assistant, and as things grew and changed there. So, you know, it was always tough, but it'll be it's really for us, this team right now, it is a good opportunity because this is a national team that's been good for a long time, and it'll be a great opportunity for us to get a big win, and that's what we're after.
Mike, what makes their offense so potent? Is it the speed that they have, or what?
Well, the speed has been a consistent ingredient of their offense for a long time, but I also think that it's a versatility in the offense. Everybody might think about it like a spread offense, passing offense, but it's not. It is predicated on the run and has been for a long time. Running with the running back, running with the quarterback has always been a big issue there, and then what they do passing complements all that. And so they've obviously had outstanding, versatile quarterbacks through the years that have made this thing go. But especially initially, it was really run-oriented. And then when you get a guy like Mariota, then it changes. And Vernon Adams was like that too, a very versatile guy. And this guy is versatile. That's why he was selected to be that guy. So I think that their balance has been a key, and the fact that they are a team that wants to run the football.
Mike, where do you put the penalties, especially the ones that are avoidable, I guess, on your list of issues? And I guess, what do you and your assistants say to the guys to try to cut those down?
Well, when you look at the two by the defensive linemen, Ross Zuris and Carlos, it's the people a little bit. Ross is a very, very responsible guy. I mean, he's not a guy you would expect would have, just go out to have a late hit like that. So you start with the idea that you educate him, and then the other thing is that in this time right now, the protection of the quarterback or a person that is deemed defenseless is a major, major issue. So the education there, and then there are some consequences of coming out of the game. Nick hits a guy late, he comes out of the ball game, and it can be really disruptive to our team. So it's both consequences and education as you go forward, and we've got to eliminate it because those things changed the game the other day. And we ended up winning comfortably, but it wasn't comfortable for a long time, and we were our own worst enemy in a lot of that.
Mike, what's Mick Stoltenberg's availability this weekend? Is Lamar Jackson, did he get dinged up in that game?
Yeah, we had a couple of guys that are going to be, as we go through the week. Lamar had a groin early in the game, so we'll see where he is. We'll see where Brandon Riley is with a hamstring. We'll see where Alonzo Moore is with a shoulder, and Mick will be kind of day to day. And as we go through the week, we'll probably be able to know finally for him probably Thursday. So when I talk to you again on Thursday, we'll have made a decision by then.
Brandon and Alonzo and Jackson, are those guys, would you say, questionable?
I would say, Steve, right now that you'd have to say all of them were, and we hope they'll all turn to probable real fast. But as of today, they would be questionable. Yeah.
Mike, you've seen a multitude of good Oregon backs. Does Freeman fit that same mold, or is he a little different? And can you kind of maybe comment on how they've used him over the years?
Well, Royce is pretty much in the mold. Their first one I look back on that was like him and still playing is Jonathan Stewart. I mean, Royce is a real good player, has been since he was young. And like I said, for them, people that don't understand, he is a cornerstone of their offense. They want to give him the football, and you have to stop him. Otherwise, that's what you're going to see all the time.
You had some good defenses at Oregon State, but when Chip Kelly took over, and then once he handed it off to Helfrich, your defenses really didn't have much success stopping.
Right. Well, I think that the issue we had probably was speed in space. That was probably our biggest issue. Either the tackling in space or the covering in space. That's one thing that frankly we like to do. We like to isolate our runner and our quarterback and sometimes a fly sweep runner and get them out with speed in space. And that's been what their thing has started with. And they have had, through the course of time, good backs that can be hard in space, and they've had a quarterback that's hard in space. So that's probably was our biggest issue. And then what happens is if you load it up, then you got a chance to get burned in the passing game.
So you feel like it was personnel related, like you just didn't have enough horses?
Or didn't make the plays that we needed to at the right time. There were, we went back and forth with one of their best teams. We actually had a pretty good night and lost at the very end on a last-minute drive by Oregon. But, I think that those have been the issues through the years.
Conversely, your offense has had quite a bit of success in those games. You talked about that one where you went back and forth with them. Was there something about being able to, now I know they run a different defense now, is there something that you guys were able to figure out about how to attack their players that made you successful?
Well, I think that it's just like we're going to do with our offense. We're going to take our strengths and try to match it against what they do and feel good about that, whether we're running the ball. We strive for versatility in our running game with our running backs and our quarterback and our receivers and really whoever you're playing. That's kind of been a trademark for us for a long time, is that they have to be able to defend all those parts. And so we believe by having versatility that we're going to cause a defense some problems, and then be able to throw the ball with it, throw the ball off of a play action game or a bootleg game out of the pocket or dropping back when we want to. So, that's all those elements are always going to be in what we do, and we'll select the right stuff for Oregon this week.
Coach, in the past, you've kind of been big underdogs at Oregon. It's kind of a different situation now that you're at Nebraska. Does the perspective or does the approach to this game change at all now that you're at Nebraska, or now that it's kind of a different ballgame?
Well, I've known that, but I've never put much stock in that as a coach. We always feel real confident going into every ball game, and we don't pay a lot of attention to that part of it. Whether you're on the front end of it or not, it doesn't really matter, because we're going to prepare the same way. It's like we've said to our team from the very, very beginning, every game in college football is a playoff game. We only get one a week, so we prepare for them all the same, which is our best. And there's never any deviating from that. We don't all of a sudden have to say, oh, this is a big game, we're going to really get ready, because that's a trap that you fall into, and we don't want to be that team.
With Oregon's just no-huddle offense, how big of a factor could crowd noise play here, and how much do you really want to challenge with the fans to kind of play that factor?
Let's go. Let's get it cranked up. I think that it's always a factor when you're playing on the road in a game like this. It was when we'll go into Autzen next year, it will be the same way. You'll have to be able to handle it, and they will. They are not. It won't be unusual for them to play in a big game in a big stadium for most of their team and their coaching staff. So I don't think we can count on that to be a factor, but it can be a factor for sure.
Mike, what kind of a difference did Nate Geary make the second game after not having him in the first and your senior back?
Yeah, it was great to have Nate back. He obviously is a veteran, experienced football player, likes to play. He's well respected by our team, and made plays in the ball game that were big plays and good plays. We added depth right away to the defense a week ago when we got Nate back and we got Antonio back, and so we just got to keep growing with that group and hope to get Mick back as soon as we can and grow that depth in that group so we can rotate players in there and have a good rotation. Carlos went in, did a nice job last week, made some really good plays. That first third down play was a big time play by Carlos, and so we just want to keep growing it, hopefully keep people healthy on that defense so they can continue to grow together, and having Nate back, a big stable factor for that. The other guy that's playing good is Kyron. Kyron has made a lot of plays and plays hard. So, through this, first part of it, when we didn't have Nate and then somebody gets a new opportunity, all of a sudden it's nice to see a guy like that step up and make some plays and become one more piece that can go in the game and be reliable for you. The more you get that, the stronger you'll be down the stretch.
What's the philosophy there in terms of blocking guys and trying to set up returns, but also guarding against the fake? Because from what we've seen, there's been, it's been really hard for any of your returners to really get much going because there's so many guys around them.
Well, it's been, like I mentioned, it's been funny. The first game we had almost unreturnable punts for a good bit of the time. And then the other day, the one that might have been returnable, we were backed up, and I thought that DeMornay made a good decision. The ball hit at the 6. So we got a 10-yard line rule. He was going to hopefully fool the coverage team and get a touchback, and of course that didn't work out. The ball bounced out of bounds. So like I said, we haven't had many of those that I would say be great opportunities. One of the things that I'd be interested in, one of you guys could check this, but I think the punt return numbers in the last 5 years have really gone downhill. And I think that's because of spread punts, shield punts. You spend a lot of time making sure you cover down all the eligibles, just spread out your punt team. And then there's a lot of different kinds of kicks. The rugby kick has changed the punt return game. And so fielding the ball and just getting it back is a big issue. And so what you have to look at first is, what does that net punt look like? Because that's the goal in the end. But we certainly want to get more going, and we have a great weapon back there. So we're working on that hard. And when we get the opportunity for a good punt return, we want to take advantage of it with the people that we have. You're right about the issue about too many people around the punt returner. Some of that is the result of a punt, and some of it's just not good position in the blocks.
Caleb Lightmore was obviously put in a tough situation this year. How do you feel he's done so far, and how he can handle it going forward with his personality?
I actually think that he has mentally handled it all really well. He's been a relatively cool customer. I think that that deal the other day, I think that was a time I think he just thought there was something when there was really nothing, and the point there was to hold the ball a little bit because they weren't rushing anybody, and then where that decision to run came in, I have a hard time with that one right now, but I think that I like him a lot. I think he's going to be real good, and I think once again we saw his capabilities on a couple punts that were real nice. So I think he's going to be good.
When you were at Oregon State and you saw all the money and attention go to Oregon and recruits choosing them to the uniforms, what was your level of frustration just kind of seeing their program just all kind of flashy and stylish?
Well, my frustration was not about any of that. I didn't worry about that. Those things they're not in the realm of what's going to be important to your own team. So dwelling or talking about that, I would always avoid it. I didn't really think about it or worry about it at all. The issue I had with them, they were a pretty darn good football team, so we had to get ready to play them all the time. And so, that, and it's really all pretty natural stuff. Their affiliation through Nike, everybody understands that kind of. So, that part of it is something that if we talked about it or worried about it, we were just wasting time.
Like, one of your big concerns in the offseason was stopping big plays. In
Yeah.
a game like this, with the receivers that they have, where they average 15 to 30 yards a catch,
Yeah.
how big a concern is that to limit that to 7?
All that talk that we had about that, it really will come to a game like this, because it will be the key issue, I believe, in the game, is limiting their big chunks, their big plays, and trying to put them in a position where we control the sticks a little bit. That's hard to do, but you've got to do that, and you can't give them that kind of big play deal. That's where they whether they start a little bit slow or whatever's happened in the first couple of games, what triggers them going is a big play. So you got to be very, very sound passing game, very, very good tacklers in open space, and take great pursuit angles with the rest of your defense when they do run the football, so that you get more people to the party as fast as you can.
How challenging is it to get your scout team to kind of simulate that speed this week in practice?
Well, I think that it's definitely an issue. You're not going to simulate everything perfectly because of speed, but what you can simulate is just being in good position. And we'll have good looks at what Oregon does, and I think defensive players are taught and have to realize all the time that the other team's going to be a lot better than the scout team at what they're doing. What you're really doing is getting adjusted to formations and then putting yourself in a position to defend plays. And so just continuing to be sound and emphasizing that as you practice against the scout team, I think those are the most important elements of it. So if you have deep zone responsibility, you play that zone correctly, and then you're able to make plays on the football from an advantaged position rather than disadvantaged. And when you do that, like we did the other day pretty well at times, you're able to see the ball. And the more you can see the ball as a defender, the more you can make plays on it. And that's where our interception numbers are up, I think. Our guys are good playing with vision, and they can roam the field pretty well. That's why that touchdown pass at the end of the half in the coverage we were in should never have happened, because if our guys are just playing their zones and playing their area, we're going to intercept that ball. But we lock in on a receiver and we get at. So those are the kinds of things you emphasize in practice, because you'll never duplicate the other team 100%.
When you left Oregon State for Nebraska, you had said there was something about coming. The reason you made that decision was because it was special. There was something special here. You have to hit the 350th sellout.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you're thinking? Is the tradition and the history that you are inheriting, especially now with that?
Well, if just going back a year and a half or whenever, it was really about that. It was, my wife and I deciding we had one more shot at a new great adventure. What we knew about Nebraska and felt about the opportunity was exciting, and so we've only learned more about that as we've been here, and we're very thankful for it, and now we want to make the most of it. We also came here to win a championship, so that was we felt like this would be a place where you'd have an opportunity to try to do that.
But there was also a sense that, I think you interviewed for the job 2 days after you lost to Oregon, and you took the job 4 or 5 days after you lost. There seems to be a relationship with the fact that you lost however many straight to Oregon. You picked Nebraska. Was there a sense of wanting to, feeling like you were banging your head against the wall there? That there wasn't a lot that they just finished the locker room
Yeah.
Oregon State a couple weeks ago. They just unveiled the one that you've been trying to build for a decade. Did you feel like it was getting to the point where you're just getting fatigued trying to compete against that sort of monolithic program?
Sam, I think that we never lost confidence that we could beat Oregon, but the fact of the matter is it was focused on us because we were the in-state rival. But there's a lot of teams in our league out there that didn't beat Oregon now for a long time, so we weren't the Lone Ranger in that. Oregon was the new torchbearer after USC. I mean, when SC made their run and raised the bar, then Oregon did right after that. So everybody had trouble with them. I think Mark's record, what did I see, was 35-8 since he's been there. So, they've been good. And so I knew that it was focused on us because we were in state, but I also was realistic enough to know that, that everybody was going to have to rise up to beat the Ducks. So I never kind of looked at it like that. I knew who we were at Oregon State. I knew how good we were, and I knew what we always had to do. I never really perceived this move until it just came up, like you just mentioned, just like that. And we decided, and we're glad that we did. And so that's kind of it, without any other drama to it.
But there's a level playing field now, right?
Yeah, I believe that there is. Yeah.
And there wasn't when you were at Oregon State.
Well, it was hard. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
I was going to ask about Michael Rose, even though he's not starting, is he kind of bringing a pretty good jolt to your defense?
Boy, I think that's probably been one of the bigger changes in our life in a year is that depth at linebacker, and we're excited about that group. You know, with the starters we have, and then you add Michael Rose-Ivy to it, and you add Chris Webber to it, and we've got some other younger guy, Luke Gifford, stepping up into that picture. Mo Berry's going to be a good player. The depth at that position is improving dramatically, and it's been good for us. We need that really with the youth that we have at defensive line right now. Well, we need that stability at that second level. All right, thank you all.